Hello, I'm Neogetz and welcome back to Space Engineers. So, last time we left off having accidentally exploded the ship we'd rescued, but I do want to try and catch the new one that we can see that's just a bit out, so let's dump the things in our inventory that we don't need and see if we can get a hold of this one, because as I say, if it's the only design of mine layer that I'm aware of, then I should have no troubles actually getting a hold of this and hopefully capturing it without exploding it. There are two traps that I know of on the mine layers, so fingers crossed we can disable them both, although as far as I was aware I disabled the last one, so bit of an issue there, but fingers crossed as I said. So let's zoom in over to this one and hopefully have a bit of better luck. So excellent that it's another military one, although getting a hold of a mining one, as I said, would be so much better in terms of actual resources. The mining ones often have an awful lot of good stuff, although there are commercial freighters which at least have an awful lot of uranium and bits that you can pull apart. So there's several different types that can be of great use to us. We've just got to find the ones we're looking for. So fingers crossed on that front really. Just adjusting our direction ever so slightly. Let's now put the dampers on and head down slightly. Try and do a bit of an intercept on this. We're going to miss it in some degree, but that's deliberate because it's accelerating towards our current position. So we sort of want to end up near it, but not quite with it. And yes, it's looking like the design that I know, so fingers crossed I can catch up with this thing now and hopefully get on board it. So there we go, it's almost stopped on the screen, which is the sign that we've ish got ourselves aligned with it. Now, as I said, there's two options for capturing these. The one that involves identifying which thrusters you need, and the one that involves heading in and disabling the trap. So we are going to try heading into this and disabling the trap that we know is in here. It's just behind these ramps that make it look like you're at the back of the ship, but in actual fact there's a hell of a lot more depth to this thing than these indicate. So there we go. Here is a nasty little trap that has a secondary warhead there that will try and kill you. Now all ships seem to spawn with slightly randomized damage on them. I'm not sure if there's just several variations of the ship created or if the damage is actually randomized. Okay, so we've got some floating items now. That could be a little bit dangerous with all the warheads around. I don't know, but that one's actually disabled. Let's just break several of these ever so slightly in order to be safer. And if I can just click that one and place a couple of these, oops, wrong place, blocking that, in the hopes that we'll have less flying around back here. These should be perfectly stationary during transit, but that is half the trap disabled now. So let's head in towards the middle of this thing for the second trap. Now there is actually a lot of space inside. I could dump this inventory, which I might just do actually if I can get inside it. So might be heading the wrong way, but I don't know. Nope, there's the door. Let's head down to this door because there are a couple of having a bit of issue there. 3x3. Oh no, sorry, that's the thruster light I was seeing. I don't know why I thought that was the door. There are a couple of 3x3 storage containers inside this thing. Now if I can't work out where the door is, I'm just going to cheat my way through the roof of it. Oops, through these interior walls that are here. There we go, let's just slow down again and hopefully break one of these out without too much trouble. I don't mind losing the materials from the interior wall. And there's the passageway, so we've actually broken the correct one for getting access to navigating the ship, and there we go. let's dump those items just so that we have a bit more choice as to what we take back with us. So let's jump down here now and break the thruster that's between the two, as that is also, as you can see there, a trap that's designed to sever the vehicle in two, which we don't really want. Sort of the last thing we want to happen is to sever this vessel, although I have had this particular trap go off and not sever the vessel before. The very first one of these I ever discovered, I had quite the accident with. It exploded, ripped a humongous hole in the vessel. I actually just presumed that it had been hit by an asteroid on my way home with it. Never once thought it might have actually been that there had been a warhead anywhere, so let's just dismantle this completely. I do not need the explosives at this moment in time, so there we go. Fingers crossed now. Oh, getting ourselves a little bit stuck there. Fingers crossed that's sorted and we now have this vessel to ourselves. So let's slow down, get ourselves back inside. I really don't mind having a entrance that's just a hole in the vessel. So let's take that, clear our inventory just a little bit more. Most of what the problem is these two items. They really fill your character's inventory up. So let's now head down through this passage. Oops, wrong button. We wanted the T button to pick that up. And somewhere is the stuff we're looking for. Oh, got thrown out by the passage. That often happens. If you try and rotate when you're in the passage, it gets upset with you. Right, so the exit was actually on the other side. That's fine. Let's try heading for the middle and see if that one, this one should have the cockpit in it. And then we can, fingers crossed, turn this thing round now we've disabled those two. We've not located any other traps on one of these vessels, my friends and I. So hopefully that will do it. And look at that, there's a mining transport. Just the sort of type of vessel I was after, but at completely the wrong time for me. Now there's the asteroid field, and that thing's getting nearer, so plenty of time to attempt to get this thing home. Where's the crosshair? Cannot see this vehicle's crosshair at all. I think I've got the vehicle upside down as well, because my attempts to control this vehicle are not working very well. Although the camera wants to be this way up, but I'm having to scroll it opposite to what I'd expect in order to try and turn around. Very strange, but let's keep going, get it over towards home, and hopefully this one will make it no trouble. And then we'll actually have a beacon telling us where our asteroid is, as we're going to leave this thing turned on just in order to use its beacon. So let's try and get some speed up. The dampeners are off, and hopefully that will give us a chance to get somewhere. Now I've just realised the crosshair is in the other direction. This would explain a lot of the trouble I was having just now controlling this ship. Let's turn around. And hopefully we haven't taken ourselves too far away from the direction we were aiming for. And head over this time. Actually going the correct way. Might actually work that little bit better. Let's turn the dampeners on a second. Arrest all the momentum we gave ourselves just then that was incorrect. And get this thing a little bit safer. A bit of an oops on my part there. And shortly we will actually be able to start building things. I know it's a bit frustrating possibly for some of you that the first couple of episodes of this haven't had me building pretty much anything, but that's the nature of survival on this map. You have to get items as best you can, as quickly as you can, really. And so hopefully we'll be getting somewhere soon. So this is getting some speed up now. The mining transport is disappearing off over our heads. We're getting further away from it right now, but it should, I'm hoping, given how little time it's been on the screen, still actually be technically heading past the asteroid field. So plenty of time to grab it when we get there. So I'm just going to let this drift a moment and hit K in order to have a look inside it. Now these antennas don't actually seem to do anything, so we're just going to disable those. Doors we want on, but all these things, there won't be any ammo or almost no ammo, so there's no point in leaving those on, although these we need on. The ship has awful turning and things. You need 2 gyroscopes to handle that. So there we go. Lots of thrusters and things that we can deal with later, and then the really interesting part, to see what's actually inside it. Now unfortunately a lot of it will be stuff that I've brought myself, but we've got some ammo there in the cargo containers, which is useful, and then quite a lot of useful things that we just dumped in there, and luckily we did pick the correct asteroid, so brilliant on that front. Let's get the dampeners on again, as it's going to take a little while to slow down. There's not that many thrusters in the correct direction. Actually, there's very few thrusters in the correct direction, so we're probably going to overshoot this one. Let's see how long it takes us to stop. Actually, we're not doing too badly, so let's accelerate a little bit more, as we just want to get behind this thing. Oh, we finally lost one of the extra items that were drifting around the ship, and we're just entering the shadow now. Hopefully we don't overshoot the shadow. Come on, we really need to catch up with that thing. It's now actually getting past us. So there we go. We are nicely shaded here. I'm not going to worry about sorting that out until later, but we are leaving that beacon on in order to have a clue where we've actually left this vessel. So let's head over towards this mining transport now, and then hopefully we will have the 2 things we need to really get started with this. Now we're just about up to speed. Oh goodness, and then we killed it. Thought those were off. Sorry, we're on. Let's get up to speed again. Luckily the player accelerates a lot quicker. Now there's a couple of different you're an idiot mining transports that I have seen. I'm not sure if they actually all have different names or if transport is a specific one, because there's several vehicles that I've come across under the name of mining. So this could be any one of them. Some of them have more ore than others. So let's see which design we've come across. And unfortunately, only one mining vehicle do I know the trap location on. So this one's going to be a little bit harder to get home, although I have to say, saying that, the one of these I've taken home before didn't seem to have a trap on. Made it home without a single accident on that one. So let's head in. The door on these is underneath when you're looking at them. Oops, gone too high. As they're going along, so should be somewhere. There we go. These sticky out catwalky pieces indicate the door, and then let's get ourselves the right way up. There we go. And this is a really simple interior layout. You're faced with a turret as soon as you enter. I'm presuming in the future that will actually do something, but for the moment, nothing. And so let's get in the cockpit, hit K to see what we've been given. Let's see, a nice lot of ore here that's actually being refined for us at this moment in time. And then the reactor has plenty of fuel, so this is wonderful for us. Let's hit Z and see what happens. Absolutely nothing, so excellent. Now let's locate the military mine layer, as that is our base. Oh, look how much faster this thing turns. Goodness. I'd forgotten how much better these were. Military ships are incredibly slow because of the sheer weight of them. The heavy armor blocks are incredible in terms of resistance to asteroids and other weaponry that you can have, but goodness do they weigh a hell of a lot. I made a shuttle with heavy armor blocks recently in multiplayer game, and boy does it have trouble. Had to redo the entire design after a while because the initial design hadn't included enough thrusters. Added a load of thrusters pointing each way, had like 4 in any direction, and they were just too weak. Couldn't do it, so I had to attach large thrusters, and you can see the difference between the thrusters here. That you've got these 1x2 thrusters, that there's the array of 3 on the back there, and then this 3x2 thruster. Oh no, sorry, that's there. It's a 1x1x2, sorry, the small thruster, and then a 2x3x2, I think, for the other bit. It's huge. Anyway, it might even be 3x3x2. It's got a humongous footprint, the thruster design, and so really is quite expensive to build. It's quite difficult to find space to fit them on the average ship. It's just really a lot of trouble to try and use one, but quite good at the same time. You know, they are quite cool. So let's get this one back, and we are going to dock this with the asteroid. The top 2 things you can see there above the black circles, the sticky out bits, are landing pads that will allow us to attach this to the asteroid without too much trouble. So let's head in towards the asteroid a moment. Actually, this asteroid seems to contain a load of ore from what I can see there. So let's just get a bit nearer to where we want to be. Get our view back roughly centered and sort out the appearance there. Now let's head in nice and slowly. We may see ores pop up, we may not as we get closer. I don't think the ore detector on here is actually active at the moment, but if I activate it in a minute, we might be able to find out just how much ore there is in this asteroid. So, almost down. One leg's touching. That's enough to actually get this thing on the asteroid. Oops, just bashing it in. There we go, they're both connected. So if we hit P, this is now locked. We can turn the power off, and this thing won't go anywhere. So it's got 3 hours of fuel in it at the moment. See if there's anything we can really turn off to deal with that. Ah, the ore detector's incomplete, we can't turn it on. Looks like there's 2 refineries on this, although only one of them's active, and nothing else really that we can disable in order to get more power. So let's turn off these because we're not moving, turn off that because we already have one here, and then that's sort of most things we can turn off really, because the thrusters are currently using very little of the power that we have, if any. I'm not sure that when they're on and not doing anything they actually use power. But here we go, we have our first ship permanently attached to the asteroid. So this will temporarily be the base until we have an actual base set up, because the mine layer is going to be dismantled for parts. So let's get out and have a look at what we've got here now. So turn the dampeners on again. We've got the starting shuttle, which has the refinery and the assembler. Really useful items. That shuttle has so much going for it because it also has the medical bay. We have the start of a base. This will get stripped down as we go in order to start the actual base here. And then the amazing supply of resources that is a military vessel. So hopefully you've enjoyed today's episode. We've made quite a good bit of progress in terms of survivability, And when you next join me, I will have done some off-camera work. I'm going to start pulling this thing apart in order to get started on a little shuttle. I don't want to show the entire build process on camera, because that really will just take up too much time for a survival series. So fingers crossed that will be going well when you next join me. Take care, and I'll see you soon. Bye!